first question to you is, I'm going to do an open here.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about the fact that they've won 14 straight, goes back to 2009.
Right.
I'll ask you to comment on the streak or what you look for. You can take it any direction you like.
Okay. Sure.
Ready?
Sure.
Let's have some fun, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to West Hartford High School Sports here on Channel 5. Today it's girls softball as the Hall Warriors host the Conard Chieftains. As always, high school sports presented by the War Chief Sports Council. Hi again, Pete Lamoureux along with Jeff Kaplowitz and our fine Channel 5 crew. Tough start for these teams, only one win between them. That was Hall drubbing Bloomfield 34-11 a couple of weeks back. Daniel Smith-Dickman in her third year as head coach at Hall goes up against Albina Belisle, who takes over for 20-year head coach Tom Ferengia. Pleased to be working again with Jeff Kaplowitz. And Jeff, you know that Hall really wants to win. The last time they beat Conard in 2009, these seniors were in the fourth grade.
Yeah, well, these teams are competitive. I've seen both of them play previously this season, and hopefully we're looking at a good game that is competitive with a lot of, not very many miscues.
So we'll see what happens here this afternoon. Again, Conard looking for their first victory. 0-8 on the campaign, and they'll line up with Kayla Oriola, the pitcher, leading off. Erin O'Mara at second base batting second. Abriana Teodoro at shortstop hits third. Lauren Cummins, the catcher, batting fourth. And Cassidy Jones at first base batting fifth. The first five in the lineup here today as they face Lean Barrio on the mound. She's a left-handed pitcher. Different perspective, Jeff, as the first pitch is in, and it's called strike one. No balls and one strike.
Nice drop right there. Start off.
Righty batter against the lefty pitcher, and that's bounced up there for ball one. One ball and one strike. Hall defensively has Isabel Amato at first, Caroline Wazlowski at second, Marissa Lazinsk at short, and Grace Amato over at third, the interior defense. Bouncing ball to third, fielded by Amato. Nice scoop at first by her twin sister, and that's the first out in the top half of the first inning.
Yep, that very nice play over there at the end at first base. Scooped the ball out of the dirt, and we got the first out.
You know, it's funny. If you look over here, Jeff, on my notes that I have from talking to Danielle, it says scoops well for Isabel Amato. And there it is on the first play. Lefty against lefty. Here's Erin O'Mara, the second baseman, standing in. Had a chance to chat with her dad, Steve, before the contest today. Erin, the lone senior in the lineup for the Chieftains here today, as it's cut on and missed for a strike.
Yeah, that was an excellent pitch. That's the second drop she's thrown in the first two batters, and it seems like it's working today.
The lefty on the mound, just a sophomore, her first year on varsity. Bunted, third base side, that's going to be a base hit. So you got to see O'Mara with the bunt base hit in the game against Simsbury, and she does it right here again, Jeff.
Yes, and that bunt base hit really was in the middle of them scoring runs to come back and actually tie the game. And of course, the game went into extra innings.
So here's a freshman, Abriana Teodoro, starting at shortstop today. Showing bunt, it's bounced up. A nice play defensively by the starting catcher for the Hall Warriors today, and that's Maria Porth. The outfield has Ryan Sandler in left, Eleanor Leonidas in center, Megan Poland is around in right. One on, one out, pitches outside. O'Mara had a big jump off first, but goes back to the first base bag. Bridget Foley Johnson was the starting shortstop for Conard. Hurt her knee, could be gone for as long as the season, Jeff. That'd be a big loss for Conard.
Yes, and when you have that kind of injury in the middle of a season, or and you're looking forward to really having to produce, that is just tough. It's tough on the team, and it's certainly tough on the player.
And she was an all-world player for them, no doubt about it. Again, it's bounced up as the pitcher losing her control right now. But Bridget Foley Johnson was only 20 RBIs shy of the career Conard mark. That's the type of hitter that she was. And outside for a ball. And that's ball 4. So after the first batter was retired, a bunt, single, and a walk has Conard with runners at first and second, 1 out. And Lauren Cummins, the cleanup hitter and catcher, standing in.
Lauren had a really good game against Simsbury, got 2 hits. She was 2 for 5.
Ball outside. Good stop by the catcher. Keep the runners advancing to second and third. I'm going to go back about the point, too, about Foley Johnson. Not only do you lose her bat, Jeff, I would think with the second base shortstop combination, probably hurts the chemistry factor up the middle. It's such an important position, not only at any level in baseball, but in softball, probably even more so.
Yes, I mean, defensively, it does put some stress on the infield, and also in the lineup, because now you have batters that trying to do maybe a little bit too much and trying to compensate and make up for that loss.
That's a good point. You want your kids to try to stay within themselves, but they might try to take on that extra responsibility. There's a nice pitch at the knees on the corner for a called strike.
The approach for Cummins right now is just to put the ball in play.
And back-to-back walks, and all of a sudden the bases are loaded for the Conard Chieftains. O'Mara trots down to third, Teodoro at second, Cummins at first, and Cassidy Jones, the first baseman, will stand in. And a pinch runner, Jaden Garcia, will run for the catcher. You often see that, Jeff, in the game of softball. Either the catcher or the pitcher get run for because you don't want them to expend more energy than they need to.
Yeah, especially in a game like this, which is the first inning. We're going to see bases loaded, get some speed, extra speed out there. It's a smart move.
3 on, 1 down. Righty batter Jones, the first baseman, against the lefty pitcher. And that's low and outside for a ball.
So we've got some control problems going on right here now. Last 12 pitches, there have been 10 balls.
And there's a called strike on the inside corner. Badly needed for sure. Jones stepping out of the box to look to her head coach, Albina Belisle, in her first year. Cut on and missed. And a good job by the pitcher to come back and get the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Has to be a tough job as the head coach of Conard this year after Tom Berengia did such a job for 20 years, right?
Well, I will tell you, to be so successful and then to follow a successful coach is quite a task. And there haven't been too many that have been successful, in the driver's seat right after a really, really solid program and a solid coaching.
Sure. Tom Berengia is going to be honored by the Connecticut High School Coaches Association next week as Coach of the Year. There's a foul fly down the first base side and out of play. He's also a candidate for National Coach of the Year, which Eddie Lidos told us will be awarded in East Peoria, Illinois next month.
Yeah, from somebody who lived in the Midwest, I know East Peoria very well.
Good area?
Yeah, well, big industry in that.
Ball 3, and the count goes full. No place to put Jones with Leslie Ann Ortiz on deck for the Chieftains. Again, this Conard team under the direction of Tom Berengia, he leaves with 12 consecutive winning seasons, 05 through 16. Called strike 3, big pitch right there, second out of the inning. You could see where Jones was just frozen.
Yep.
She was indecisive that time. She wanted to take a swing, couldn't do it, couldn't pull the trigger, and gets called out.
Again, that was that changeup.
So here's Ortiz. The base is loaded and now 2 outs. She's the 6th hitter to bat for the Chieftains here in the top half of the first. Nice stop by the catcher again on the short hop.
The fastball seems to be giving her some trouble. The release point is rather low, and what's happening is she's bounced a number of them in there.
Another case in point right there. 3 balls and no strikes, with no place to put Ortiz. And the 3-0, and that's high for ball 4, and that walks in the first run of the game. Aaron O'Mara touches home plate with the first run, and Conard leads by the score of 1-0. So a walk to Ortiz, and she gets credit for a run batted in. Teodoro goes down to third, Cummins to second, and Sasha Winograd stands in. Sasha takes a strike, no balls and 1 strike.
Again, that drop pitch is the one that she's got the control on here early in the game.
Cut on and missed. 0-2. The left fielder that time helping out the pitcher by swinging at that one. This is an offensively challenged Conard team. They've been held to 2 runs or fewer, Jeff, in 5 out of their 8 contests so far.
Yeah. Well, when you lose a big bat, as I said before, it's kind of hard sometimes to rebound and to know your place in the lineup.
Sure. 1-2. And the pitch on the way. And that's ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Maria Porth getting a workout, the junior catcher here in this first inning. Just outside. Dave Tim is our home plate umpire. You could tell he was on the fence on that call, Jeff.
Well, we're full again, so let's see what happens here.
3 on, 2 out, 1 in, and the payoff pitch on its way from the left-hander. Swinging a number, and it's a foul ball. It's a dead ball at home plate. And they'll do it all over again.
Hall is doing a good job. I mean, with all these pitches and all these walks, the infielders are set on every single pitch. They are not relaxing at all.
And the payoff pitch, and that's ball 4, and the second run gets walked in the inning. Teodoro, the shortstop, touches home plate, and the Chieftains have a 2-0 lead. And now a conference at the mound as the entire Hall infield congregates at the mound. James Brown is our base umpire today, working with David Tim. David Tim, quite the soloist, Jeff. Sings national anthems all over the state of Connecticut at games.
Yeah, he's quite a personality and a wonderful man. A wonderful man.
A few short moments talking with him, you can definitely see that.
Yes.
So here's Amela Mucka, the center fielder, 8th batter of the inning, and she shows bunt and fouls it off at home plate. I want to talk about the differences between softball and baseball. Softball, the bunt is almost in play in every situation, Jeff.
Yeah, with the shorter baselines and the idea that you can actually, if you've got some foot speed, beat bunts out, it is a good play. And just like the batter that uses a slap kind of hit, just to get the ball on the ground and use their speed.
1 ball and 1 strike to Mucka. That's bounced up there for ball 2. I would say Maria Porth, the starting catcher for Hall this afternoon, has saved at least 8 or 9 wild pitches in this first half inning.
Yeah, she is blocking it. That was a good pitch right there. Outside corner.
Pitcher's pitch.
Yep.
Almost unhittable. And the count levels at 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's bounced up again, and another full count. Another throw to third, and it's not in time. Pinch runner Jaden Garcia down at third. Ortiz is at second. Winograd at first. Still 2 outs in the inning. The left-hander's pitch on the way. That's inside for ball 4, and that walks home another run. The pinch runner Garcia scores, and Conard ups their lead to 3-0. Five walks in the inning. The only base hit so far was actually the bunt single by Aaron O'Mara. And that's what got the rally started. That was bowled to home plate for ball 1. Rachel Chosick, the right fielder, standing in. The 9th batter as Conard bats around here in the first inning. There is a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1. At the knees for a called strike two. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2. Called strike 3. And that retires the side. But in the inning, 3 runs on 1 hit, 5 walks, and the Chieftains leave them loaded. After a half, Conard 3, Hall coming up as you watch West Hartford High School Sports here on WHC-TV, Channel 5, and online at WHCTV.org. The War Chief Sports Council would like to thank our many fine sponsors, including those at the all-state level. Keating Insurance Agency, MACA Plumbing and Heating, Reed and Reed PC, Counselors at Law, ESPN, College Prep Express, and the McConnell Family Law Group. Also those at the all-conference level, the standalone group Allied Printing, and at the captain's level supporters, Hartford Distributors, Franklin Fine Beers, Cork and Bottle, the Babe Ruth Organization, Coastal Tool and Rob Ludgen, and the Conard and Hall PTO. Thanks to one and all for your sponsorship of the War Chief Sports Council, and for more information, go to their website at www.war-chief.net. That's war-chief.net. And a reminder, catch our next broadcast tomorrow afternoon. We'll be at Conard High School. Join John Beignet and me for all of the action as we have boys volleyball as Conard entertains Hall. And this is another streak that could end tomorrow, Jeffrey, because Conard has defeated Hall in boys volleyball 6 consecutive times. But Hall this year, under Bing Liu, who was presented with an award last week by the University of Connecticut for his outstanding Chinese teaching. He's actually an excellent volleyball coach as well, because he has his team off to a 6-2 start. Should be a good match.
Yes, it should be. And like all streaks, we were talking about the Conard Hall streak. They do eventually come to an end, as we saw with UConn this year.
Unbelievably so.
Yeah, and I lived in Los Angeles when UCLA lost to
Notre Dame
in basketball to Notre Dame and Digger Phelps. So it does happen.
John Shoemake, wasn't he a member of that team?
Yeah.
That Notre Dame team. So 3-0 Conard, and Marissa Lazinsk, the shortstop, leading things off for the Warriors against Kayla Oriola, the pitcher. And the first pitch is popped up. Catcher looks for a play. She made a terrific play, but it's out of play. They have a boundary line, Jeff, and she just crossed that line to make it out of play. Good effort, though, by the catcher right there.
Excellent effort.
Lauren Cummins diving that time to try to bail out her pitcher, Kayla Oriola, the freshman. And she's back after missing 3 games, got hit by a line drive, and is almost about 90% back, according to her head coach.
Yep.
Miss Belisle. So here's Lazinsk standing in. Good hitting shortstop. Fouls it off again. Marissa, a sophomore. Called by Danielle, her most consistent hitter. and our hardest worker.
She good defender also. Got a really nice approach at shortstop and approach to plate. Got a great arm too.
Oriola looks into Cummins for the side. And there's called strike 3 for the first out of the inning. So Oriola gets the benefit of a low strike call. May have been at the knees that time, but
right.
Certainly a borderline pitch that you have to swing when you have 2 strikes.
Certainly, and the umpiring is consistent. He's calling that low strike.
Big Poland stands in, and it's a swing and a miss for strike 1. The interior defense for Conard has Cassidy Jones at first, with Aaron O'Mara, the lone senior, playing at second base. Abriana Teodoro at shortstop, swung on and a foul ball down the right field side. And Leslie Ann Ortiz is at third, left to right in the outfield. Sasha Winograd, along with Amela Mucka and Rachel Chozik this afternoon, around and right. And Oriola and Cummins, the battery. Ball high and outside. 1 out, nobody on here in the bottom half of the first inning.
Cummins wanted that pitch to be outside the strike zone so that she might go fishing for it.
Pitch is low and inside for a ball. And the count goes 2 balls and 2 strikes. With third baseman Grace Amato in the on-deck circle for the Warriors. Swung on, bouncing ball to second. Here's O'Mara, underhand flip on to first to Jones, 2 away. So here's Grace Amato, the third baseman. Part of that first base, third base twin combination. Grace and her twin sister Isabel. Good pitch right there. Catches the inside corner.
Yeah, that had a lot of movement on it also. That came from the middle of the plate and just basically moved inside.
And a good angle too. She changes angles a lot as a pitcher, Jeff, which is neat.
And that went the other direction. That pitch just now went in the other direction. So it started in the middle and actually moved to the outside of the plate. So she's got good movement on that fastball.
And that's how you really keep a hitter off balance for sure. Cut on and miss for strike 3, and an easy 1-2-3 inning for the freshman pitcher Oriola with 2 strikeouts. 3 up, 3 down, nothing on, nothing across. End of 1 here at Hall. Conard 3 and Hall no score on WHC TV, Channel 5. The Warrior Chief Sports Council would like to thank our sponsors at the varsity level, and they include Low Tide Photography, Blue Plate, Dave Newman Photography, Fast Eddie, West Hartford Youth Basketball, West Hartford Travel Boys Basketball, Open Arm Christian Ministries, Final Cut Barbershop, Edward Connors Insurance, Stanley and Elaine Phillips, Beth Barry Brown of the William Ravis Agency, and West Hartford Girls Lacrosse. Thanks to one and all for your continued patronage of the Warrior Chief Sports Council. Mark Walker with a delivery. Good to see you. Mark does such a great job as treasurer. You're going to step in and say a few words. Thanks for joining us, Mark, and thanks for dropping these off.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know, we're great to be a part to have War Chief part of so many great competitions. It's great between Hall and Conard, so I'm glad to be part of it.
And thanks for being a part of it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, good to see you too. Mark Walker, treasurer for the War Chief Sports Council, does such a fine job. Starts with Paul and Dennis, but there's a lot of people that certainly participate, and he volunteers his time to keep the books. And
yeah, the War Chief Council is one of the really nice things that happened to the athletic program at both Conard and Hall High School here in West Hartford. They really have taken on the burden sometimes, really, of making sure that these programs work and our broadcast goes.
And it starts with Paul McConnell and Dennis Swanton, and the hours that they give, Jeff, just unbelievable. Yeoman's work for sure. So here we go, top half of the second inning. Back to the top of the order, just as they started in the first. Ball inside to Oriola. You know, that first inning started inauspiciously. Oriola bounced out to third baseman Amato. But then 6 of the next 7 reached, and they were on their way to a 3-run inning.
Yeah, there was real difficult. I mean, it was a 44-pitch inning.
Wow.
So after the 3 pitches and the ground out to lead off the inning, a lot of walks and the loss of control really was added to the runs.
Great to have a built-in statistician to the booth there. Ball 4. And Oriola reaches. And of epidemic proportions, that's 6 walks now, unfortunately, for the Hall pitcher. Lefty against lefty as O'Mara stands in. She singled and scored the first run back in the first. And she takes ball 1. Second baseman Wisłowski was cheating up the middle that time. She thought maybe the runner Oriola would be on the move. Pitch on the way, that's bounced in. The runner goes, throw down to second, not in time. Slight hesitation by the catcher Porth, and that allowed Oriola to get in with the stolen base.
Well, she also had to handle a really tough pitch.
Sure. So now it's up to Erin O'Mara to move that runner from second to third, and she's backed off the plate for ball 4. So back-to-back walks to begin the second.
Yep.
And now they have to face the heart of the order. Teodoro walked and scored in the first. Getting the start at shortstop. Swung on, line drive, fouled on the first base side. No balls and 1 strike. It's not every day, Jeff, that even with the injury to Foley Johnson, that you see a freshman hit third in the lineup and play shortstop for your team.
Yeah, she's a special player with a really nice future.
And we're seeing the 2 freshmen on the field right now. You got the batter and you got the pitcher standing out at second base.
Yep.
And that's the
future of the program.
I was just going to say, there's the view of the future right there for the Conard Chieftains. High and inside. Lauren Cummins on deck for the Chieftains, as they've started the second inning with 2 on and nobody out. And the pitch is bounced up there. Good stop again by Porth.
Yeah, their release point is really bothering Granite, and with the fastball, and needs to be remedied.
And bounced in again for ball 4. So 3 walks in the inning, and they're loaded for the cleanup batter, Lauren Cummins. Talked to Danielle Smith last week, and she says, you know, the kids, they get amped up for a game like Hall versus Conard, but to the coaching staffs, and I'd like your comment and have you speak to this too. Just another game is business as usual. How do you keep your kids focused in a game like this, Jeff?
It's really all about practice, what you do in practice and the approach you have in practice. If it's hard work and it's dedicated to a certain system, then you've got to keep that in mind always. You know, the hitting coach, the fielding coach, and
line drive to left. What a catch out in left field for the first out. Throw to second, not in time. Ryan Sandler, shoestring catch, and a big one out there.
That was hit right on the button. I think she might have had a chance at third base. She looked at second, but I think possibly she could have doubled off the runner at third.
So 1 big out. Cassidy Jones swings and misses. Fake throw to third, and they throw it back to the pitcher. So again, back to your point, just as long as you keep things consistent through your practice, then it just becomes, you know, ordinary and routine in terms of another game.
Yes, and practice will say everything about your dedication. Oh,
indecision by the runner and a possible rundown, but the throw goes high and wide to third. So Oriola came halfway down the line that time. Good recovery by Porth, the catcher, to get it to the pitcher. And instead of throwing down to third, she hesitated And in this case, she who hesitates is lost, and they didn't get the out at third base. But they prevented the run from scoring anyways.
That's true. The way that play is usually handled, you've got 2 runners at third base. You're going to run the runner back to the bag and see what happens with the other runner.
Throw to third, not in time. You're correct, Jeff. That is proper rundown technique. Try to run them back. Bounced in there. Good stop by Poor. Throw to third. Just back standing is the runner, Oriola. Another big opportunity for the Conard offense. They plated 3 runs in the first. They have 3 runners on with 1 down here in the top of the second as they look to break this one open early. Ball gets away from Porth. Good recovery and no advancement by the runners. She is extreme. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah.
Extremely quick behind home plate. Good lateral movement by the catcher that time to retrieve the ball very quickly.
Yeah, very, very nimble back there.
Yeah. And there's strike 3. So she's 2/3 of the way home. After bases loaded and nobody out, now it's bases loaded and 2 outs. And if Conard's going to score, it's up to Leslie Ann Ortiz, who drew a bases loaded walk and earned an RBI back in the first inning. Nice backhanded stop. Throw again to third is just off the third baseman Grace Amato's glove. Backed up nicely by Lazinck, the shortstop. Very windy day here today at the Hall Sports Complex. You have softball and lacrosse going on all over the fields here today. Speaking of lacrosse, your old assistant coach, Steve Boyle, will join me for the doubleheader broadcast that we'll have 2 weeks from Thursday.
Yep, Steve. Yep, and former lacrosse coach here at the girls lacrosse coach here at Hall.
And the pitch on the way. That's outside for a ball. And Oriola, the runner at third, O'Mara at second, Teodoro at first. 2 outs in the inning. And it's bounced up again. 3 balls and no strikes. And the pitch on the way. That's high for ball 4. And that'll walk in a run. So a second consecutive bases loaded walk to Ortiz in as many innings. Oriola touches home plate. And the Conard lead increases to 4-0.
Not very often do you come 2 times to the plate and not hit the ball in play and get 2 RBIs.
It's amazing. I mean, they still only have 1 hit, and that was a bunt single. So all the walks, they had that 1 line drive hit to left, and just a brilliant catch by Sandler out there to prevent further damage. There's a line drive towards center. That's going to drop in for a base hit. 1 run's going to score. It's an RBI base hit for Winograd. Second run of the inning makes it 5-0 Conard. Good lunging effort by Lazinck, the shortstop that time, but just out of her reach. O'Mara scores. Teodoro to third, Ortiz in the second. And now Mucka takes ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Of the 5 runs that have scored in the game, Jeff, 4 of them reach base via the walk. Ball's inside.
Most managers basically, they lament, those base on balls.
Exactly. It's the most underrated occurrence in all of sports. Bill James wrote a brilliant 25-page essay pertaining to baseball on it back in 1985. I still have that in my study.
And certainly the approach in the major leagues is all about that. It's getting on base, and that's why some of the stats will actually drive wins.
Yeah. 3 balls and 1 strike to Mucka. Yeah, to many, OBP and OPS are more important than batting average now, and that never was the case back in the day.
No, that's for sure. I love watching old baseball games, and there was a lot of swinging. We can get to it in a few seconds here, but
Payoff pitch is ball 4, and that walks home another run. 3rd run of the inning makes it 6-0 for the Chieftains. Speaking of old games.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the last game in the 1960 World Series, Pirates and the Yankees.
Yeah.
There were no walks and no strikeouts the entire game.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure on the strikeouts.
Wow.
The entire game. So everybody's swinging.
And one of those swings got Bill Mazeroski in the Hall of Fame.
That's true. And Tony Kubek in the hospital getting that ball in his Adam's apple that basically extended the game.
Unbelievable. And then, I don't know if you agree with me, but he went on to become one of the great color analysts of that generation.
Yeah, I'm wondering, was he one of the originals of the Saturday baseball games?
I think so.
Yeah.
He and Joe Garagiola and Kurt Gowdy before Joe.
Right.
Back in the day.
True.
Back when it was a privilege to see an out-of-town game and not an everyday occurrence like it is today.
That's for sure.
If I were lucky back in the 70s, I could see my Cincinnati Reds 20 times a day and drive my parents crazy going into the automobile at night and listening to WLW on the radio. Pop up, caught by the first baseman, and that retires the side. Isabel Amato with the catch to retire Rachel Chosick. Second consecutive inning that Conard puts 3 on the board. 3 runs, again just 1 hit, a slew of walks, and they leave them loaded. Middle of the second inning, the score is Conard 6 and Hall nothing as you continue to watch West Hartford High School Sports here on WHC-TV Channel 5 as presented by the War Chief Sports Council. Jeff Kaplowitz and I will work again together on Monday, May the 22nd. It is the Mayor's Cup game. It'll be baseball this time, Conard versus Hall, over at the University of Hartford. Always a treat to work at that stadium, Jeff, and that press box. And you had an opportunity to see the Conard boys baseball team, and they left you with a very good impression.
Yes, I was at the Hall Conard baseball game yesterday, which was dedicated to cancer patients and cancer survivors. It was a great affair, and the approach that Conard had, very solid, especially the top of their lineup, the first 3 or 4 players. Hall played very well too, but a couple of miscues really cost them.
So we look forward to that game. It's always a good battle, but 2 good teams this year for sure. And these 2 teams playing softball for us here today will also play that day at the University of Hartford. So they have the concurrent playings of the game, and we'll have the baseball broadcast that day for you. So again, to reiterate and to recap our 5-game spring package for you, starting today with the softball. Tomorrow, boys volleyball, 5 o'clock, Channel 5. Get some of the JV game in before the varsity kicks in. Then we'll have the doubleheader lacrosse on the 18th, which is a Thursday. And then baseball on the 22nd at the University of Hartford. Kayla Oriola back on the mound. She enjoys a 6-run cushion as she throws strike 1 to Eleanor Leonidas. Leading off, she's the center fielder. Cleanup batter, and she'll lead off here in the bottom half of the second inning. Leonidas, Amato, and Porth, 4, 5, and 6 in the order for Danielle Smith. And there's a strike. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the story right now, the beginning of this game is balls and strikes, and right now, base hit right up the middle.
Bouncing ball, seeing eye base hit into center for Leonidas, who becomes the first base runner of the afternoon for Hall. Jeffrey, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to talk about the very same fact that when you're a pitcher or a hitter, strike one is just so important. And the numbers certainly bear that out. We can bring our friend Bill James in again, and he'll tell you strike one versus ball one. It's about a 60-point difference in batting average. Throw to second, not in time. Stolen base for Leonidas. Here's a difference that you would see at the high school level versus the pros. You would never see a professional try to steal 6 runs down, but it's a different story trying to stir things up in softball.
Yes, and rightly so. They need to have something to kickstart their offense.
Sure. Be a little aggressive. Good eye by Isabel Amato that time. She thought about offering, but took the pitch high for a ball. Two balls and no strikes. You see Oriola shaking off Cummins, and she hits the corner with a strike. 2 balls and a strike.
Good spot here. Cleanup batter up with somebody in scoring position. And now the count has gone her way, 3-1.
Good hitters count.
We were talking about counts, and the batter basically has advantage in some counts, and this is one of them.
Yeah. Cut on and miss for strike 2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. I was reading the Bill James baseball handbook last week. A 3-1 count, the average major league hitter becomes a 3-13 hitter, Jeff. That's being in the driver's seat. Swing and a foul off the screen in front of us.
Yeah, the reason for that is they basically zone a pitch. So if you can handle an inside pitch, you're going to wait for that inside pitch. Everything else is off limits, and if the ball floats inside, they basically will attack, and that's the advantage of being up front in the count.
Payoff pitch is outside for ball 4. And the first 2 are on here in the second inning for Hall. And Maria Porth, the catcher, stands in.
So where Oriole was very efficient with only 12 pitches in the first inning.
Line drive caught by the shortstop. The freshman Teodoro with some highway robbery right there for the first out.
Porth hit that right on the button. For the first out.
The pitcher's to match her jersey number of 12 with her efficiency in that first inning. Lefty batter stands in, and that's the pitcher. Now trying to help her own cause here as she takes outside for a ball. Leonidas, the runner at second. Amato at first. 1 out, bottom of the second inning. All trying to put a dent into what is a 6-run Conard advantage. And the pitch on the way. Cut on and miss for a strike.
Still has a lot of movement on those pitches. They look like they're in the center of the plate, and then they move to the corners.
And she changes the eye level too. I mean, that ball was a lot higher. Line drive into center field for a base hit. The runner will be held at third, and the bases are loaded. So another seeing eye base hit in this contest. This one by the pitcher. And the bases are loaded with just 1 out. And Caroline Wisłowski, the second baseman, standing in. Carolina senior.
And as my childhood announcing friend, Red Barber, the ducks are on the pond, huh?
Absolutely. Time is called, and a meeting at the mound between the battery mates, Oriola and Cummins. And that gives Danielle a chance to talk to Caroline. And Caroline, a 4-year starter for this team, Jeff. You don't see that all the time.
Yes, and you know, that's a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work on the off season, and hitting you know, is basically a lot of hard work, a lot of reps. Same thing with fielding. That's what baseball basically and softball are. It's getting your reps and knowing your strengths.
A fun moment between Wislowski and the home plate umpire, Dave Tim, that time. He tried to call a 1-2 count, and she turned around and said, "Hey, wait a minute, it's 1 ball and no strikes." And, he very politely corrected himself. And the pitch on the way. Line drive foul. Poor Danielle Smith said, "Not at me." She said, "Down the left field line, straighten it out." So I have to ask the question. It's now a rule and mandatory, minor leagues and major leagues, that third base coaches have to wear helmets and first base coaches. I think they should bring that to the amateur level here too, no?
Well, the students should, but we've got 2 teachers out there, two professionals. Probably be a good idea.
Yeah. Now it's a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Bases loaded, 1 out, called strike 3. Big strikeout for Oriola in the 2nd out of the inning. She froze Wislowski with that pitch down the outer half that time. And if Hall's going to score, it's up to Ryan Sandler. Sandler made that great defensive play in the top half of the inning. Let's see if she can get her bat to work as well.
Got the outside corner right there.
Yeah, there's called strike 1. Leonidas at third, Amato at second, and the pitcher, now Mario, at first base after her single. 2 hits and a walk in the inning. And the 0-1 pitch stays outside, and the count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Popped up. Going out to shortstop. It falls in for a base hit. Here's a possible play at the plate. No, the second run will score. Throw to third is out. 3rd out of the inning, but 2 runs will score and get Hall on the board. We'll credit Sandler with a 2-run single. Leonidas comes in to score. Isabel Amato follows. But the pitcher is thrown out trying to go first to third. In the inning, 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left. 2 innings in the books here at Hall, and the score, Conard 6 and Hall 2, as you continue to watch West Hartford High School sports here on WHCTV Channel 5 and online at WHCTV.org. Thanks for joining us for our presentation of West Hartford High School sports. Pete Lamoureux along with Jeff Kaplowitz here at Hall High School. 6-2, Conard in front as we go to the top half of the 3rd inning. Also like to thank our fine Channel 5 crew. Meredith and Diana on hand. Jen back on the studio dials. at Town Hall as we get set for this third inning. As Jeff pointed out, Conard batting around, sending 9 batters to the plate each of the first 2 innings, so they start at the top of the order again here in the third, and it's Kayla Oriola, the pitcher. She bounced to third and then walked, stole a base, and scored last inning. Officially 0 for 1 on the afternoon. Swinging a foul tip at the plate. First and third baseman playing about 2 or 3 feet inside the respective bags. Ball is high and inside. Pitch is certainly starting to mount for Nell on the mound. 10 walks through the first 2 innings. And this is a busy week where they can ill afford to run those pitch counts up.
Yeah, 79 pitches in the first 2 innings, and
they're playing 3 days in a row, Jeff. So
yeah.
I mean, that's going to take its toll. Conard playing 4 games in 4 days. What's interesting, though, is that both teams, and this is unusual for Conard, that they go with a 2-pitcher attack, and the same on the Hall side of things. Swung on, line towards center, and playing it right there is Leonidas, and she has it for the first out here in the third inning. Second-year starter in center field is Eleanor. And she moved about 3 steps to her left that time, was positioned perfectly. Erin O'Mara, twice on base, twice has scored a run. Takes a strike. It was Erin's bunt single that jump-started the rally back in the first inning. She subsequently walked and scored in the second. Swung on, bounced to second. There's Wisłowski fielding, throwing on to Amato for the second out of the inning. Jeff, you talked about the need for pitching efficiency, and so far so good in this inning for Hall. 2 quick outs.
yes, big advantage, and she makes short work here. She'll have a pretty efficient inning, right?
Teodoro, the shortstop, takes a strike. She's walked twice and scored twice. Trying to extend the inning for catcher and cleanup hitter Lauren Cummings. Bouncing ball to third, bobbled momentarily, picked up by Grace Amato, throws on to her sister Isabel for the out. That retires the side. Excellent inning on the mound for Nell that time. 3 up, 3 down, nothing on, nothing across. Middle of the third inning here at Hall. It is Conard 6 and Hall 2 on WHC TV, Channel 5. As always, the War Chief Sports Council would like to thank our many fine sponsors, including those at the all-state level. They include Keating Insurance Agency, MACA Plumbing and Heating, Reed and Reach PC, Counselors at Law, ESPN, the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, College Prep Express, and the McConnell Family Law Group. Also at the all-conference level, it's Allied Printing. Thanks to one and all for your continued sponsorship of the War Chief Sports Council. If you'd like to get involved with sponsorship and patronage, go to the website www.war-chief.net. That's war-chief.net. Bottom of the third upcoming, and it'll be the top of the order for the Hall Warriors. Lazinsk, Poland, and Amato, who went 3 up, 3 down in their first at bats against Kayla Oriola on the mound this afternoon for the Conard Chieftains. She's shown no ill effects of that line drive that she took. Caused her to be out of the lineup for 3 games on the mound for Conard. Lily Panett, the junior, pitched 3 games in her absence. Lazinsk, a strikeout victim. Oriola has struck out 3 on the afternoon, walking just 1. Nubber towards the mound, fielded. Throw on to first. Not in time. It's an infield single for Lazinsk, and that's the way the Hall bottom of the third begins. Sometimes it's those little numbers, Jeff, that just go about 15 feet. Good enough to get you on first base.
Right. Looks like a line drive in my scorecard.
Yeah, exactly. The old adage, looks like a line drive in the box score. So here's Poland, the right fielder. Runner going. Throw down to second. It's close. In time for the out. What a throw by the catcher, Lauren Cummins, showing off her arm that time, Jeff.
Yep. Got her by a step and a half. So that's an excellent throw down to second base.
That's a big out to erase that leadoff hitter. There's a bunt out in front of the mound. Fielded to throw to first. In time on a bang-bang play at first. Oriola, the pitcher, helping her own cause, fielding her position well, and firing a strike down to the first baseman, Cassidy Jones, for the second out of the inning. Nice play right there.
Yes.
So Conard flashing the leather a little bit this inning. Swinging a foul off the bat of Grace Amato.
Yeah, Oriola, she's just living in the strike zone here. So very efficient. Another very efficient inning right so far.
Very impressive today. One base hit away from shutout baseball. Bouncer back to the mound, fielded by the pitcher on to first for the out. That retires the side. So just like the Chieftains did in the top half of the inning, the Warriors go in order in the bottom half, save that one single. It's still facing the minimum of 3 right there. A hit and nobody left. 3 innings in the books. Conard continues to lead Hall 6-2 as you watch West Hartford High School Sports as presented by the War Chief Sports Council here on WHCTV Channel 5 and online at WHCTV.org. You know, it's funny. We have so many people, many different states. We had a grandfather emailing me from Pennsylvania during the hockey season. We have my brother who listens all the time in Arizona, my nephews in Florida. But still the winner, I believe it was your uncle, on radio, online. Wasn't he listening in Israel when you were in the quarterfinals? You had that big victory against Sacred Heart. Was that 2010 or 11? 11.
Yeah. And that broadcast went all the way to Israel.
Amazing.
And in my uncle's home, there were 6 family members listening to the game.
Wow, amazing! Congratulations on that season, by the way, and the terrific run that you had.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
And you came to play in my backyard at Sheehan High School in the semifinals, but unfortunately, the wrong team won that night. But a great season.
Yeah, well, you know, those are sports contests, and that I love the competition.
So here's Lauren Cummins to lead off, 4th inning, and it's bounced wide for a ball. Lauren walked and scored in the first, flied out to left in the second, so she's officially 0 for 1 with a run scored. 6-2, Chieftains in front as we begin play here in the top half of the 4th inning. On a nice day to be outdoors in West Hartford. Ball is dropped by Porth, but even if she had caught it, it wouldn't have counted anyways because it was beyond the boundary and ruled out of play.
So the last inning was a very efficient, clean frame.
Yeah.
You know, 3 up, 3 down with only 10 pitches. So let's see if we can keep that up.
Fly ball, left center field. That's Leonidas to her right, and she has it for the out. And 1 down here in the 4th. And Nal has done a good job retiring now 5 in a row. She's got the last out in the 2nd, got him in order in the 3rd, and the first out here in the 4th. Cassidy Jones stands in. Twice a strikeout victim so far today. Nal has 3 strikeouts on the mound for the Warriors. And the pitch is low and outside for a ball. talked about that these teams will meet again on May 22nd at the University of Hartford in the Mayor's Cup game. If Conard holds on and wins this game today, they would extend a streak of that would then make 15 consecutive wins over their crosstown rivals. The last time that Hall defeated Conard, it was a ground ball base hit up the middle. So Jones gets on for the first time. A one-out single into right center field. Again, the last time that Hall beat Conard, 2009, and that was the last time that Conard did not have an over 500 season. It wasn't a losing season. They were 10-10 on that campaign. Their last losing season back in 2004. Ball is outside. Still an upset that day, Jeff, in 2009. I remember calling that game at Wolcott Park. Hall was only 5-15 for the season, so they were 5 games worse than Conard, but they were better that day by the tune of 6-3.
Yep.
Here's a called strike.
That Mayor's Cup game, we saw that last year in the baseball, on the baseball side.
Yeah. Bunt third base side, but they're going to let it go foul. And the softball matchups really haven't been competitive. Conard won last year 11-2 and 11-0. 2015 they won 16-5 and 18-0. 2014 16-4 and 6-1. So they've very much had the better of it over the years. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 on, 1 out in the visiting half of the 4th inning. The Chieftains try to add to their 4-run lead. Good stop by Porth again. Throw down to first, close play, not in time. Jones had to dive back into the first base bag to beat the tag. Placed down by Isabel Amato.
Count's gone full to Ortiz here.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Ortiz. And she's on via the base on balls for the 3rd consecutive times. First 2 times came with the bases loaded. She got credit for RBIs. So 2 on and 1 out. And Winograd steps in. She has 2 RBIs today. Bases loaded walk and a ribby single back in the 2nd inning. Lefty's pitch catches the corner, called strike 1, no balls and 1 strike. Isabel Amato, the first baseman, way in looking for the bunt. Bunted on and missed. And a couple of quick strikes on the Conard left fielder.
Yeah.
Bounced in there, and another good stop by Porth.
This is critical right now. They need to stop and have again a good frame here in this 4th inning, so that they can come back offensively and have a chance.
Bounce back to the mound, and a throw on to first. Is that going to be in the transfer, or is that going to be called? No, that's going to be an E3 all the way on a drop ball at first base. That's a bad break for the Warriors right there, Jeff.
That is a shame.
So now all of a sudden, instead of having 2 on and 2 out, you have the bases loaded and 1 out, and Mucka, the center fielder, standing in. She's also walked twice. Throw back to third is not in time. I give Porth a lot of credit, not just because she's an outstanding backstop stopping everything, but she's not bashful about throwing to bases to try to nail down the runners.
Right. Keep them honest.
Yeah. Strike. Throw back to third. And an out at third base. So you keep doing it, and finally it pays off. Score at 2-5, and that's a big second out of the inning. Cassidy Jones picked off third. And Maria Porth, what a gun. Ball is high and outside. You know, in baseball, you see the pitchers throw to the bases to keep the runners honest, Jeff. You really can't do that in this situation. So it's up to the catcher to do that. And it acts in basically the same purpose.
Absolutely. But I'm gonna recall a favorite of yours by the name of Mr. Johnny Bench.
Oh, yes, sir.
Who from his knees and his eyes closed could throw people out at 90 feet or 120 feet.
We called him Mr. -4 in Stratomatic because of his -4 arm every year.
He what an outstanding baseball player.
Just tremendous. Bouncing ball fielded by the shortstop. Long throw to first in time for the out that retires the side. Lazinsk showing off her arm, throwing to Isabel Amato to retire Mucka and to end the rally. No runs, a hit, a walk, an error, and 2 left. Middle of the 4th here at Hall. Conard 6, Hall 2 on WHC-TV, Channel 5. Kid growing up watching them, I got so spoiled because I thought it was going to be that way every year. Bottom half of the 4th inning here at Hall. Along with Jeff Kaplowitz and our fine WHC-TV Channel 5 crew, Pete Lamoureux back with you. First pitch is skied into right field, over by the line, and a nice catch made by Rachel Chosick for the first out of the inning as she retires Eleanor Leonidas. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Isabel Amato and Maria Porth to follow.
Last inning with the benefit of the throw out at second base, it was only a 5-pitch inning.
There's a little pop up to second. Falls in front of O'Meara, throw to first in time for the out. She could better that mark this inning, Jeff. 2 up, 2 down.
I would think Miss Porth is not going to swing at the first pitch.
No.
I would,
You'd hope not.
We hope not.
Give her pitcher a little bit of a rest in that dugout.
Well, I've been wrong before. She just swung, so that's.
But that's just a sign that the game has just changed. It's approached a little differently from back in the day. It's one of those subtle changes.
Yeah. And also you want to stay aggressive. So I have no fault with that.
True. No, I agree. Timeout is called as Lauren Cummins goes out to the mound to talk to Kayla Oriola. One thing about catcher Lauren Cummins that head coach Albina Belial likes, she goes all out all the time. Just a terrific leader, all out hustle, 100% of the time. And as you know, whether you're a quarterback on the football field, a point guard in basketball, the catcher is the coach on the field, as it were.
Absolutely. No shortage of those kinds of players, I'll tell you.
Popped up foul back of our vantage point.
That's what makes a successful program. Coach basically encourages to have 5 coaches on a basketball court and 9 coaches on the baseball field and on the softball field. Yeah. And when you have that, they have the motivation to go out and play as hard and win.
Sure makes a huge difference. Little nubber first base side. That's going to go foul. You referenced Johnny Bench before, the late great manager of that Big Red Machine team, Sparky Anderson. His famous line was, "Show me a team without a good catcher, and I'll show you a team that's not a good team."
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yankees proved that. The Dodgers proved that. Yeah. In their heyday.
Sure. Bouncing ball to short, fielded on the short hop, and the throw to first. Not in time. It's an infield single. Good effort by Teodoro at short that time, as she stayed with that hard hit line drive. But the catcher beats it out and extends the inning. As Nal stands in. She had a single her first time up. Runner at first with 2 down. Swinging a number foul at home plate. No balls and 1 strike. Conard 6, Hall 2 as we play in the bottom half of the 4th inning here at William H. Hall High School. Outside and low.
Your comment about a catcher is very well taken. I'm just in my mind going back to the World Series champions in the last 5 or 6 years, and they've all had quality backstops.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one common denominator, right? I mean, sure, they're going to have good pitching and good managers and a lot of good things to win world championships, but it all starts with that guy under the mask behind the plate. Mile-high drive, short left field, and the shortstop Teodoro calls for it and puts it away for the out. That retires the side. A hit and 1 left. We go to the 5th here in West Hartford. Conard maintaining a 6-2 advantage here on WHC-TV, Channel 5. The War Chief Sports Council would like to thank our many fine sponsors, including those at the captain's level. They include Hartford Distributors, Franklin Fine Beers, Cork and Bottle, the Babe Ruth Organization, Coastal Tool and Rob Ludkin, and the Conard and Hall PTO. Thanks to one and all for your sponsorship of the War Chief Sports Council. And for more information, go to the Council's website at www.war-chief.net. That's war-chief.net. Jeff and I have a statistical board game that we've played many, many times called Stratomatic. It has now outsold Monopoly as the most popular selling game in the history of the world. It's aided and abetted by the fact that there are junkies like me that buy the new cards every year, so that's how they surpassed Monopoly. But to further elaborate on your point, all the players have certain ratings and values, and if you are a catcher and you throw out would-be base stealers very well, you get what's called a minus arm.
Right.
There have only been in Stratomatic in the last 40 World Series champions, 4 of them that didn't have minus arm catchers. So there's the point right there.
Yeah, and it's a great equalizer. You get men on base and you can cut them down before they get into scoring position, or trying to stretch it, run. It's just an excellent weapon, and it's a defensive weapon. Yeah. And certainly that's what you start a baseball team with. I remember back in high school when I played ball that I remember the coach that I had basically started his varsity run with catching. And made sure that he had a quality frontline catcher as well as the person that backed him up.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. It starts at this level, and it goes through every level between here and the major leagues. And you know, you referenced Johnny Bench. You had a great defensive catcher by the name of Jerry Grody for your New York Mets back in the 70s.
Yeah.
He didn't hit 25 home runs a year like Johnny Bench, but he could throw out base stealers, would-be base stealers, just as well almost.
And that great pitching staff in '69, they accredited a lot to Jerry Grody, especially Tom Seaver.
Sure.
I also go back a little further, and Roy Campanella, three-time MVP for the Dodgers in the National League.
Wow. Yeah, he was something. God rest his soul, too. Cut on and miss for a strike.
This is
Elena Borio
Yeah.
is stepping in for Rachel Chozick, leading off in the 5th inning. And she takes inside for a ball. Teammates call her Ebo. She's usually the right fielder in a platoon now with Rachel Chozick. Ball high. So it's the 9, 1, and 2 spots in the order.
We also have a new pitcher.
And a new pitcher on the mound. Is that Emma Dalton? And she hits the batter that time. And it looked like it got her right along the left knee. And an HBP to begin things in the 5th inning. And with that softball, that's really got to hurt.
Yeah. Nothing soft about that softball.
No, absolutely.
Not at all.
Absolutely. So she gets a hand from the crowd here that's assembled on this Tuesday afternoon. And back to the top of the order now. And Kayla Oriola, the pitcher, trying to help her own cause. She's bounced to third, walked and scored, and flied out to center. Nothing for 2, and she hits one back to the mound. It eludes the pitcher, fielded by the second baseman, and no play. She tried to tag the base runner going past her, and when she didn't have that, turns out to be a fielder's choice and a 1st and 2nd no-out situation for the road team. And there's the lefty swinging, Aaron O'Mara. And it's outside for a ball. Aaron's mother, Karen, was quite the player back in her day for the Conard Chieftains. Was the first all-state Conard softball player, according to our buddy Ed Lightus.
Yeah, Eddie's coaching the freshmen in Southington today.
Yeah.
And
ball outside.
I guess we should give a congratulations to Eddie. His forlorn Cubs finally won a World Series.
Boy, he's been waiting a long time. Not as long as some people in Chicago, but and good.
Is he 103 years old?
Ball 4 to O'Mara to load the bases. He said he feels like 108 by the Cubs aging him some of these past Octobers and August and September some years. High and outside for a ball. It's the 4th time in 5 innings, by the way, that the Chieftains have the bases loaded at some point. And Teodoro walked twice and scored twice, also bounced out to third. And she takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Good for Eddie Lightus, who does so much for Conard High School and the athletic programs.
And an absolute gentleman.
Yes.
Coached against him on the other side of town, and is always accommodating and forthright. Just a great asset for the West Hartford schools.
No doubt. Well said. Very well said. And you know, having done this job for 10 years at the collegiate level, he's as good as any sports information director that I worked with, and I worked with a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
He provides us notes and facts and figures. As Teodoro walks and Conard, the person of Chozick, comes around to score. And they're on the board for the first time since the second inning, and the Chieftains now lead by the count of 7-2. Base is still loaded and nobody out. And first pitch is high and inside to Cummins. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, you know, my New York Mets, Jay Horowitz was a big, great, and that group, you know, their PR people and their statisticians are great.
And an errant throw is going to allow 1 run to score, and the other runners move up. So Lily Perry now in catching. And an errant strike allows Oriola to come in to score. O'Meara down to third, Teodoro to second. And the Conard lead is now 8-2. Still nobody out in the inning. Cut out and missed for a strike. Conard 8, Hall 2 as we play in the top half of the 5th inning. Caught on and missed. Good off speed pitch by Emma Dalton. One thing Danielle said about her, Emma can be a very talented pitcher, but still in the early going this year, Jeff, still trying to find her zone on the mound. That's how she described it. Infield pop-up is going to be caught by Lazinsk, and that's the first out of the inning. I imagine that could be difficult in the early season. You got to find that arm slot, that angle that works, and just as you said before, it's all repetition after that.
Yeah, and I can't overemphasize the difficulty that they've had this season with the weather. So there's been an inconsistent, and both teams are basically playing game upon game upon game this week to make it up, and that takes a toll on the pitchers.
Sure. Because while it's not as taxing on the arm as it would be for baseball, it still has to be, especially when you have a performance today like Nal did, where she had to throw 100+ pitches or close to it, right?
Yep, she had 112.
Yeah, 112. And in your situation where you're playing 3 straight days, for them, Conard playing 4 consecutive days, something that you certainly have to keep an eye on. Which is outside for a ball. The new catcher, Lily Perry, is a freshman. And just like Maria Porth before, has an outstanding arm, and according to Danielle, is very aggressive and just an outstanding defensive catcher. Lily Panett batting for Cassidy Jones. High and inside.
That's ball 4.
And that's ball 4. So the bases are reloaded. Jaden Garcia is going to be the pinch hitter for Ortiz. Albina Belisle in the third base coaching box, preaching patience to Jaden Garcia. Bats with 3 on and 1 out. She bounces at the second. Throw to first is in time for the out as another run crosses the plate. Erin O'Meara scores for the 3rd time today. And the Chieftains are consistent, Jeff, when they score. 3 runs in the first, 3 in the second, and now 3 here in the 5th. They lead at 9-2.
Yeah, hit to the right side and gave an opportunity to get the run in pretty easily.
Jaden Garcia, the pinch hitter, who scored a run earlier as a pinch runner, gets herself an RBI with the ground out.
We're going to have to talk to Eddie Lightos. This wind is like the hawk in Chicago.
Exactly. Gusting upwards of 35 miles an hour this afternoon. know, you see the temperature at 75 degrees, but we're both very thankful we have our windbreakers on. Ball inside. Sasha Winograd standing in.
And it got away. Throw third, got away.
And the throw gets away, and that allows Teodoro to score. And that makes it 10-2. And a strike to Sasha, who had an RBI bases loaded walk, an RBI single, and reached on an error. So she's 1 for 2. Nubs one left side, fielded by the third baseman. The throw to first is in time. Nice play by Grace Amato, throwing on to her twin sister Isabel for the out. That retires the side. But in the inning, the damage done. 4 runs without the benefit of a base hit. And in the middle of the 5th, Conard extends their lead to 10-2 over Hall on WHCTV Channel 5 and online at WHCTV.org. And welcome back, everybody, as we get set for the bottom half of the 5th inning. Hall down 8. They trail the Chieftains 10-2, 8-9-1 in the order, led by Caroline Wisłowski. And she takes ball 1 outside from Kayla Oriola, who's worked all the way. Scattering 5 hits today, walking just 1, striking out 3, and Jeff, one of the keys, just the 1 walk today. Mile-high pop-up in back of us and out of play.
Well, just as long as she keeps finding the strike zone, that she is going to be efficient. 52 pitches through 4 innings. That is efficient.
That is. Well, I'd like to see a Cincinnati Red starter do that. 13 pitches an inning. There's a strike to Wisłowski, who struck out her first time up. Second-year captain is the senior second baseman, followed by her coach, the glue of the Hall infield. She takes high for a ball. Cut on and missed strike 3, and that's the first out of the inning. So Wisłowski down on strikes for the second time today. And that's 4 punch outs for the freshman right-hander Oriola. And Ryan Sandler, big swing and a miss. Sandler's been the star for Hall today. She had a 2-run singler last time. Also made the best defensive play, catching a line drive with the bases loaded back in the early innings. Big cut and a foul off the screen in front of us. Lauren Cummins flashes aside. Pitch on the way. That's a little bit high. Sandler not a very big player, so she doesn't offer a very wide strike zone, that's for sure.
No, small target.
Swing and a foul.
A nice cut right there.
Yeah.
Kept eye on the ball.
And the pitch on the way. Number towards third, fielded there, and the throw to first gets off the first baseman's glove, and Sandler will go down to second. Mr. Kaplowitz, is that going to be an infield single and an error, or an error all the way?
I think that's an error all the way.
Okay.
On the throw.
So an E5 allows Sandler to get into scoring position down at second. And they go back to the top of the order for Lazinsk, who's 1 for 2. Struck out in the first, singled in the third. And she takes strike 1 at the knees, no balls and 1 strike. Her base hit in the third, one of 5 hits this afternoon for the home team. I believe they have out-hit the Chieftains today. Just to show you the power of bases on balls. I have unofficially Conard for 3 hits.
And four for Hall.
Yeah. And another strike at the knees. Talked about the consistency of Dave Tim's strike zone. He has called the low strike today.
Yep, and
Done it for both teams.
It's been consistent. That's all you want. That's all you want.
Ball low. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and 1 out here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Brief timeout for the freshman pitcher. Now she toes the rubber once again. And the 2-2, snubbed foul first base side. They'll do it again.
I'm really intrigued by the experimentation that they're doing with an electronic strike zone in the minor leagues. There's an earpiece in the umpire's ear, and here's a beep when there's a strike, and you would never know the difference.
Wow.
And he calls it.
How long until we see that at the big level?
There is some pushback, some resistance to it, but the proponents say that it is consistent and it's seamless. And that's the big thing, I think. You know, for major leaguers, they want things to be seamless. They don't want it to seem like it's something else.
Right. Ground ball to third. Throw to first is in time, and on the play crossing to third is Sandler. So they get the second out of the inning. As Jane Garcia atoned for the previous error. She's now playing third base after she pinch hit for Ortiz. And it's the ball to Meg Poland.
Yeah. Meg is a wonderful young lady. Just had the pleasure of coaching her in basketball, and just a fabulous young lady.
Nubs it to the mound, fielded, and the throw to first is in time for the out that retires the side. In the inning, no runs, no hits, an error, and a runner left stranded at third. 5 innings in the books here at William H. Hall High School, and the score remains Conard 10, Hall 2, as you watch West Hartford High School Sports as presented by the War Chief Sports Council here on WHCTV Channel 5 and online at WHCTV.org. Jeff and I will have more in a moment. So Amela Mucka to lead things off here in the top half of the 6th inning. Lefty batter showing bunt, taking outside and low for ball 1. Emma Dalton on the mound now for the Hall Warriors. Mucka, Elena Borio, and Oriola. 8, 9, and 1 for Conard. And she takes high and inside for ball 2. Dalton hit Chosick with a pitch last inning, and she came very close to doing the same to Mucka right there. Nice bunt third base side, but it rolls foul. 2 balls and 1 strike. And the 2-1. And that's ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Both corners, the Amato twins, are basically 20 feet from home plate at this point, third and first.
Basically shaking hands with the bat.
Yeah. That's.
Oh. That's ball 4, high and inside. And Mucka reaches on the leadoff walk. For all of their offense today, Jeff, only the 3rd time in 6 innings. And I say only 3 because when you have 10 runs on the board, you'd think that they get it started, the innings, right at the outset. But 3 times Hall has retired the first Conard batter. 3 times they've reached. Throw to first is not in time. And a bunt foul by Elena Borio, standing in for the 2nd time in as many innings. Hit by a pitch and scored in her only plate appearance. She took over in right field for Rachel Chosick. Timeout for a wind gust.
Guess we are in Kansas.
Yeah, exactly. Scattering equipment all over the place. It's amazing. I've had a lot of windy days in 13 years calling games here, Jeff, but nothing like this.
And it's been consistent.
Yeah. Just like the umpire. Ball inside. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count with a runner at first and nobody out here in the top half of the 6th inning. Chieftains in front by the count of 10-2. And called strike 3 sends Borio back to the dugout. And here's Kayla Oriola standing in. 5th time in 6 innings that she comes to the plate. Bounced to third, walked and scored, flied out to center, reached on a fielder's choice and scored. Little pop-up. It's going to fall in front of the second baseman, and it's going to end up being an infield hit. And crossing all the way to third on the play is Mucka. Good heads-up base running and good hustle right there. And there's a wind-aided runners at the corner situation.
Without question. That ball looked like it was going to make the short outfield, and it fell in front of first base.
Wow. I think even if Jeff Kaplowitz were teeing off the first tee today, knock your drive down to about, what, 225 instead of 275?
Oh, we're going in the other direction. It's 400 yards.
Oh, okay. You're in John Daly territory now. I saw in a practice round, you're familiar with the layout, of course, at the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell. With winds of this magnitude about 8 years ago. Saw Bubba Watson drive a ball on number 1 to within 25 yards of the green, so he was playing pitch and putt.
Yeah. It can happen.
Yeah. Foul ball as Aaron O'Mara stands in. 2 balls and 1 strike to the senior second baseman, who's been on base 3 times today in her 4 plate appearances, has scored 3 runs. Talk about table setters, whether it's softball or baseball, Jeff, and that's all you want out of your 1 and 2 batters, just to get on base so 3, 4, and 5 can have an opportunity to knock them in. It's the old adage,
absolutely.
walks as good as a hit, right?
In this particular case, yes. And again, going back to what you said before, that's the whole premise of Moneyball.
Yeah. Bouncing ball to second, and to throw on to first for the out as a run scores. Monka crosses the plate with the 11th run this afternoon, upping the lead to 11-2. Second out of the inning, but first RBI of the day for Aaron O'Mara. And here's the fine-looking shortstop, Abriana Teodoro. Takes ball 1. She's walked 3 times and scored 3 times today. One of those walks came with the bases loaded, and credit her with an RBI. Throw to third, not in time. Oriola at third with 2 outs and a run in here in the top of the 6th inning. Bouncing ball to short, and to throw on to first for the out that retires the side. Lazinsk showing off that strong arm. And that's all for the Chieftains here in the top half of the 6th inning. They get another run. They play add-on with a hit, a walk, and a runner left stranded at third. Middle of the 6th here in West Hartford. Conard 11 and Hall 2 on WHCTV Channel 5 and online at WHCTV.org. All presented by the War Chief Sports Council. So getting set for the bottom half of inning number 6. Tall order for the Warriors. They got the right people up to get things started. 3, 4, and 5 as they trail 11-2. Cut out and missed by Grace Amato. Eleanor Leonidas and Isabel Amato to follow. Grace looking to get on base for the first time today. She's 0 for 2, struck out in the first, grounded back to the box in the third. And she takes a high strike that time.
Yeah. That was up.
Ball is wide. And the pitch on the way. Swing and a foul. She stays alive. At 1 ball and 2 strikes. Talked about Conard playing the 4 games in 4 days starting today. Tomorrow they'll be at Windsor. Thursday they're at Avon. And then Friday they have the unenviable task of playing the Blue Knights of Southington High School on the road. Bouncing ball up the middle, and that's going to be an infield single. And that's how the bottom of the 6th begins for Hall.
Right back up through the middle with a pitch that you can handle.
That's a good piece of 2-strike hitting that time.
Absolutely. Protecting the plate and going right back at it.
And it's high and outside. Leonidas standing in, 1 for 2. Single, stole a base and scored back in the 2nd. Flied out to right in the 4th. Swing and a foul off the screen in front of us. Warriors trying to score for the first time since way back in the 2nd inning. We got both of their runs on a 2-out, 2-run single by left fielder Ryan Sandler. Hit towards short. Throw back to first. In time. Nice double play. 6-3. 2 outs in the inning.
That was a great pick at first base.
Really well done at first. And Teodoro, the shortstop, got it started with a nice catch and a quick fire to first for the 2nd out. Here's Isabel Amato. She waves at that first offering. No balls and 1 strike. Isabel walked and scored in the 2nd. Bounced out to the second baseman O'Mara in the 4th. He's 0-for-1 officially. Swung on and a base hit down the left field line. So that makes that double play, Jeff, all the more important to keep Paul from putting a big inning together. Throw gets away in the infield, I'm sorry, and the runner down to second.
Yeah. I mean, instead of having, in this case, two people on base.
Yeah.
They have just the one.
So Lily Perry coming on. She took over the catching duties for Maria Porth a couple of innings back. Big cut on pitch 1, fouling it off the screen in front of us. The 0-1 cut on and missed, strike 2. Impressed with Oriola, Jeff, in that consistent look of intensity on her mound with every pitch.
She's also handled the distraction of the wind very well.
Yeah, she does. She hardly seems to be fazed at all by it. Swung on, driven towards left. And it's over the head of the left fielder. It's going to score a run. And it's going to be an RBI double for Perry. Could be a tough sun field out there. But I think if you talk to Sasha Wennergrad, I think she would say that's a ball that she probably should have had.
I would think so. And again, we go back to your comment a few minutes ago about how important that double play was.
Because that would have played at 2 runs instead of 1. There'd be 1 out in the inning instead of 2. Dalton, the batter. Oriola catches the inside corner with that strike. Cut on and missed for strike 2. Grace Amato started the inning with a single. She was doubled off on a line drive double play. Then a single by Isabel Amato and an RBI double by Lily Perry. And here's Dalton, the pitcher, trying to extend the inning and played another run. Ground ball up the middle, fielded by the second baseman O'Meara, and throws to first, not in time. And Conard was very lucky that the runner slipped and fell at third, or else they probably would have tried to score. So first and third with 2 outs. And Caroline Wisłowski, twice a strikeout victim, trying to solve Oriola for the first time today. Even though they didn't get the out, boy, what range by Erin O'Meara, the second baseman, going way to her right up the middle that time, Joe.
Yes, and she cut it off from the outfield. Probably did save the run.
They throw through, not in time. Stolen base. You surprised that the runner stayed at third base when the throw went through?
Not at this juncture. Let's see.
There's a strike on the corner to Wisłowski. Caroline's been such a good player for this Hall team for 4 years. Definitely the captain of the infield, captain of the team as well. Trying to break through in her third opportunity at the plate here this afternoon. High and outside. 1 run in, 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs for Hall here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Still a tall mountain to climb. They trail Conard 11-3. Cut on and missed strike 3. That's the strikeout that retires the side. In the inning, 1 run on 4 hits. There was an error and 2 left at second and third. 6 in the books now in West Hartford. It's 11-3 Conard as we go to the 7th here on WHC-TV Channel 5 and online at WHCTV.org.
Fun, my friend.
I'm having a great time. I hope I'm doing a good job.
Doing a real solid job as always. 3 for 3. 3 for 3. Make it 4 for 4 on the 22nd.
Go back.
How many times does that happen?
I don't know. He had like 20 hits.
That was every Yankee win. I was just gonna say it's like the '84 Knicks Celtics series that the Celtics won in 7. Every game they won in Boston by between 10 and 20, and every game the Knicks won at the Garden by between 1 and 3. That was basically 1 against 5 with Bernard King against the Celtics. Well, Truck Robinson had a good series.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. I was in the Garden to see the Knicks, and it was really, really a good game. I went, and,
This year? Or?
yeah, this year. I haven't been in the Garden a long time, about 10 years. I was in the Garden. First game that Dave DeBuscher played in the Garden.
Really?
His first game he played in Detroit. And changed uniforms, and then first game of the Garden. And I came, traded him for Van Arsdale and Howie Comives and Walt Bellamy.
Walt Bellamy, who my brother was so sad to see in Atlanta. He was a prison guard. He saw him about 35 years ago.
Top half of the 7th inning. 4, 5, and 6 in the Chieftains lineup. Excuse me. Lauren Cummins leads off. Swung on and missed. Lauren walked and scored in the first. Since then, she's been retired 3 consecutive times. Flied to left, flied to center, and popped to short. And she pops this one up on the infield, and it falls in no man's land, a foul ball.
That moved a good 20 feet in the wind, and the ball literally.
It really did. 9 days out of 10, Isabel Amato, the first baseman, comes in and makes that catch.
I don't even think she comes in. I think it's right to her.
Yeah.
I don't think she even moves.
Line drive, base hit up the middle. Good solid contact by the cleanup hitter that time. So a leadoff hit for the Chieftains. And Lily Panette, who came on for Cassidy Jones at first base, gets her second opportunity to hit. She walked back in the 5th inning. Shows bunt, takes the bat back, and takes ball 1 high and outside. Oh, some chin music right there. And she dives out of the way. 2 balls and no strikes. And timeout is called. Little conference between Dave Tim, the home plate umpire, and Coach Belisle. What could they be talking about?
I don't know, maybe a special something that was on the umpire's mind.
Yeah. That allowed the Hall infielders to meet at the mound, go over their defensive strategy. As we get set to resume, here's the 2-0. That stays wide. Ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. The major storyline of this game today, the control problems, unfortunately, for the Hall pitchers. There's the strike.
Yeah.
Walks were aplenty in those first 2 innings that allowed Conard to jump out to that 6-0 lead, and 5 of those 6 runs scored because of walks.
And a number of RBIs on walks, too.
Yeah. So pop foul down the left field line, and it falls in foul territory. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runner at first, nobody out as we play here in the top half of the 7th inning. Here's the payoff. Bounced up the middle, and it gets by the second baseman, and all hands are safe. An opportunity for Wisłowski on the backhand that time. She wanted to stop it and then step on the second base bag for the force out, but the ball just eluded her. Good effort on the play, but to no avail.
That was a tough play. If she would have made that play, it would have been outstanding.
Yeah, she gave it a great college try, that's for sure. So 2 on. And Jaden Garcia stands in, and it's bunted on and missed for strike 1. Wind continues to howl, and the dirt kicks up in our faces here. Line drive foul, sending both third base coaches for cover today. All I have to say, Jeff, and credit to Mother Nature today, So thank God she put the temperature in the 70s and not in the 50s, or else we'd really.
We would be feeling it.
Yeah, exactly.
If that was the case, I'd put in for hazard pay.
1 ball, 1 strike. Nubbed fouled on the third base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Even with a foul ball, Lily Perry, the catcher, did a very, very good job getting quickly from behind the plate and pouncing on that. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. You know, job 1 for Garcia here to move the runners along. Even if she has to give herself up with an out. Line drive, base hit in the left center field. That's going to score 1 run. And it's now 12-3. Good solid contact by Garcia. It's a ribby single to left as Cummins comes around. 3 consecutive hits to begin the 7th inning for Conard, plating yet another insurance run. And a timeout taken so that Dalton can tie her shoe.
That was hit so hard that the first base runner had to stop at second.
Yeah. That was Panette getting herself down to second. So still first and second, still nobody out with a run in. And a dozen on the board for the previously moribund offense of the Conard Chieftains. Line drive into right field. That's a base hit. They're going to go station to station. Everybody moves up 60 feet. Aaron throw back into the infield. And that's going to allow another run to score, and the other runners move up to second and third. So Panette comes in to score. Garcia to third. Winograd down to second. We'll give her the base hit, but no RBI. As the run scored via the errant throw. Amela Mucka standing in for the 5th time. RBI walk. Another walk, a grounder to short, and she walked and scored. So 0 for 1 with a run and a ribby so far today. Good stop by the catcher Perry, moving far to her left that time. And a ball inside. 2 in, 2 on. Nobody out here in the 7th. Hyatt inside.
3 ball.
Nice bunt. Fielded by the catcher. Throws to first, not in time. That's an infield single. Throw back to second. They have the runner caught off second, and she's out.
The center fielder took that.
That was good alert play by the center fielder, I'll tell you there. First and third, 1 out in the inning.
So Megan Pullen got behind the runner on the bag and got the out.
Now that was good fundamental softball right there. Ball gets by the catcher. The runner thought about going to the plate. Runner from first does go to second. So Mucka takes the extra base down to second. Ball outside. So the very unusual scoring on that one out of the inning goes 2 to 3 to 8. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's what I've got. I was just thinking that how often do you see the center fielder actually tag somebody out on second base?
Right. Not every day, that's for sure. 3-0 pitch. Catches the outside corner for a called strike. 3 balls and 1 strike. Hit to short. Runners advance. Throw to first. Nice scoop by Amato for the out. Second out of the inning. But crossing the plate is Garcia. 3rd run of the inning. And we have a football score, Mr. K. It's 14 to 3.
Yep. It looks like Hall is the one kicking the field goal.
Yeah. And the ball is low and inside as Oriola stands in. Her 6th plate appearance of the afternoon. She's 1 for 4 with a walk, a run scored, and a stolen base. Nice play by Perry, the catcher, to stop that one. Danielle wasn't kidding about her catchers both being defensive stalwarts, that's for sure.
Yep, they're quick. They're quick feet.
Yeah. They could play goaltender for Brett Soucy's Hall Conard War Chief hockey team.
Absolutely.
There's a called strike. 3 balls and 1 strike. Runner at 3rd, 2 down. Top half of the 7th inning. Line towards second, caught by Wazlowski for the out. That retires aside, but more damage done for Conard in the inning. 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 1 left. Last chance for the Warriors. They come to bat in the bottom of the 7th, trailing 14 to 3 on WHC-TV Channel 5 and online at WHCTV.org. The War Chief Sports Council would like to thank our many fine sponsors, including those at the all-state level, and they include Keating Insurance, MACA Plumbing and Heating, Reed and Reach PC, Counselors at Law, ESPN, the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, College Prep Express, and the McConnell Family Law Group. Thanks to one and all for your sponsorship of the War Chief Sports Council, and for more information, go to their website at www.war-chief.net. That's war-chief.net. A reminder to join us for our next broadcast will be tomorrow afternoon, 5 o'clock. We'll be at the Conard Gymnasium to watch boys volleyball. Hall having quite a season for Bing Lu. 6-2 is their start. Carrie Rollers Chieftains. Not off to the best of starts, but in all fairness to her and her squad, they did graduate 4 all-conference performers from a year ago. You know how that goes in the coaching cycle, right?
Absolutely. And knowing Carrie, she'll get them rallied.
Oh, yeah.
Carrie's also another quality person that you work with every day in West Hartford here. And I've taught for so many years. And Carrie's just fabulous.
And I'd like to echo those sentiments.
Yeah.
She is so helpful to us in our broadcasts.
Right.
Send her an email, give her a phone call, right back to you.
Right. Absolutely. And Marianne over here, her counterpart at Hall, you know, just fabulous. Marianne Segura.
I have dubbed Carrie the Princess of Punctuality. And she's all of that for sure.
You're always late, huh?
Except for broadcast. And buffet lines. So here are the Warriors, batting for what Conard hopes is the last time tonight. 14-3 they trail. And Oriola starting Ryan Sandler off like most of the hitters this afternoon with called strike one. Ryan's 1 for 2. Had the first 2 RBIs. Clutch 2-out base hit in the second to get Hall on the scoreboard. She's been one of the best this afternoon for Danielle Smith-Dickman. Ball high. Oriola looking for that punch out, which would be her 6th this afternoon. She struck out 5, walked just 1, and boy, her control has been one of the keys, Jeff, in this game.
Absolutely, and so efficient. I mean, just you know, we're talking 90 pitches here, so.
Wow. Strike 3 to Sandler is strikeout number 6. And back to the top of the order, and Marissa Lazinsk. And she takes ball 1 high and inside. Marissa, the shortstop, struck out in the first, singled in the third, and bounced to third in the 5th. Also in the 3rd inning, she was cut down stealing. Fine throw by Cummins, the catcher. Cut out and missed for a strike. Oriola taking her time. Oh, it hit the umpire, Dave Tim. Ricocheted. And he is dazed, to say the least. Boy, you could hear that right
Yeah.
in front of us here.
Yeah.
Base umpire James Brown
yeah.
comes right over to check on his colleague and friend.
Absolutely. Curiously enough, today in class we were talking about injuries in my science class, and I said one of the most devastating injuries I saw was Conigliaro getting hit.
Sure.
And my students obviously do not remember Conigliaro, but
Right.
but he certainly. I showed him some pictures of him being pulled out on that stretcher, and
That was something.
it was sobering at best. Sobering
Yeah.
at best. So that's why the equipment and the care that is taken for safety, you know, is so important.
Sure. Sure.
I guess a call now has gone out for the trainer at this point.
And again, that's Dave Tim, the home plate umpire. Ball ricocheted. Hit him off the top of the helmet. Catcher Lauren Cummins over to
Give him
him
some
some
water.
water. And scary moment for sure here at Hall High School.
He also wears glasses under the mask, and a lot of movement there.
Yeah. He took those glasses right off.
Yep. And they're going back. There's safety glasses. I can see the side part of it, which is smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they similar to some you might wear in science class some days?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. For the same reason.
Yeah.
You don't want to get hurt.
Right.
He gets a nice hand.
Yeah. Nice applause from the faithful. And he's ready to resume his duties. Again, it's 1 out. Yes, sir. How you doing? He's checking with us.
We're fine.
We're fine. We're more concerned with him. And the pitch is high and outside. It's Marissa Lazinsk at bat with 1 out, nobody on. Bottom half of the 7th inning. Conard leading Hall 14-3. It's a try to make it 15 consecutive wins over Hall dating back to 2009. Little pop-up right side. It's caught by the first baseman, 2 away. Lily Panett falling off Aaron O'Mara. They joke about it. Either one of them could have caught it there on the right side. Ball one
to Megan.
To Megan Pohl. 3 times up and 3 times out with ground balls to the infield. Grounded to second and grounded back to the pitcher 2 consecutive times.
Megan brings her mom and dad here to the games, her own cheering section.
Nice. Bouncing ball back to the mound, taken by Oriola, throws to first, and the ball game is over. A complete game effort by Kayla Oriola, allowing just 3 runs on the day, and the Conard Chieftains win by the count of 14-3. Jeff, always a pleasure.
Hey.
Outstanding job as always. More than just solid. We look forward to seeing you on the 22nd. Your final impressions of the game here today.
Yep, and thank you very much. You're more than flattering. But nice game. I mean, saw a lot of nice things. You know, as far as the Conard side, they finally break through on the win column, and there's a nice future also for Hall.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And we'll see Jeff again on the 22nd for baseball action, Mayor's Cup style. Stay tuned. We hope to have our post-game interview with Coach Belisle and one of her players. Again, the final score here today at Hall High School, it was Conard 14, Hall 3. Stay tuned for the interview on WHC-TV Channel 5 as presented by the War Chief Sports Council. Coach, congratulations on the victory. Your first Conard Hall confrontation. How's it feel?
It feels great. It feels great overall. I mean, I know the rivalry between the two schools, and it's just a good feeling to get that win.
And the first win in your Conard career.
Yes, it is my first win in the Conard career.
That's
Start of something good.
terrific. Talk about your pitcher standing to your right. She had an outstanding day, especially with her control.
Oh, she did. Her pitch count was great. Just limited amount of pitching, and I would say I'm not sure how many strikeouts yet, but overall did a great job. I mean, she has good focus.
Six strikeouts on the afternoon.
Thank you very much. Like I said, look at it. To be a freshman, I mean, I couldn't ask for anybody better.
The offense, very patient. Didn't have a lot of hits, but you took advantage of their wildness for sure.
They were more patient, which I appreciate that very much so. Yes.
And that can really ignite your offense because the offense, you had 5 games of the first 8 where you scored 2 runs or fewer, and today it must have felt good to get all the runs.
It did. I just kept saying we want more. Every inning we want more. It's never enough, to just have whatever we have. We got to have more. Security.
I want to talk about your dedication coming down here every day from Enfield. I mean, that's quite a trip.
It is. I'm not a fan of 84, but it's I got to deal with it. The drivers. But yeah, I enjoy the commute. It's actually like about 20-25 minutes with no traffic. Right. But I like it. It's somewhere new. It's a new area, new group of kids. It's just I'm lucky.
Well, congratulations on the first win, and hopefully many more.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I want to bring Kayla in here. Outstanding job on the mound today. You seem to have a lot of intensity and a lot of poise out there.
Yeah, I like to stay focused. I try to keep my attitude very straightforward throughout the game.
You threw very economically today. You went the entire game, 101 pitches, and it really helped you. You had 2 innings early. You had a 5-pitch inning and a 12-pitch inning, and that really helped you.
Yeah, it helps with when the defense are making plays. It helps me out, get less tired and stuff like that.
And do you get more relaxed when you get a big lead like that? Does it take a little of the pressure off when you get three runs in the first, 3 runs on the second, and then all of a sudden you have a little bit of a cushion?
Oh yeah, definitely. If I miss my spot, I don't feel as pressured that I needed to hit it. So.
Well, congratulations on the win, and I hope this starts a good streak for you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Carrie Oriole, the pitcher, the winning pitcher today, getting the victory. Conard winning by the count of 14-3. Not to jinx the Chieftains, Coach, but you've now won 15 consecutive games against Hall going back to 2009. So a little.
Nice. I'm glad I could keep that tradition going.
You kept it.
Yes,
going.
yes.
And
we still have the Mayor's Cup. Don't forget.
Exactly. May 22nd, University of Hartford, 4:30. We'll be doing the broadcast of the boys that day, but happy to do the broadcast today. Again, a Conard victory as they beat Hall 14-3. See you tomorrow for boys volleyball. We'll be over at Conard High School. 5 o'clock, we'll catch a little bit of the JV action, then the varsity match as the Hall Warriors go for their 7th win in 9 opportunities. Thanks to all involved from Channel 5. Thanks to Paul and Dennis from the War Council. And we'll see you right back tomorrow at Conard at 5 o'clock. So long, everybody.